All right, greetings, Hastings viewers. My name is Mike Bramer with HCTV, and welcome to the Bramer House. We're obviously living in some unique times, so we're doing some interviews from my home. And with me today is my guest, Dan Wietecha, City Administrator. Dan, how are we doing, sir?
Very good, thank you.
So this is kind of unique times here. I mean, we're doing interviews through Zoom. I wanted to have you in the studio months ago, but things got busy, and now we're forced to do it through webcams.
We'll get in the studio soon enough.
So tell me first off, Dan, how is everything going with the city and dealing with just the unfortunate situation with COVID-19?
On the one hand, it certainly is not business as usual. We've made all kinds of adjustments at the city professionally, but also obviously in our personal lives. But on the other hand, to a certain extent, it is business as usual.
Yep.
We still fully staffed. We've made a variety of adjustments so that 30-some people, office employees, are working remotely. We're doing things like this Zoom video conference.
Mm-hmm.
Our field employees, we've certainly made adjustments so that they can incorporate social distancing into their day.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still able to flush the hydrants and the water mains. We're still able to do street sweeping or tree trimming along the trails for safety. Some of it might not be as efficient because we don't have the same teams working, but
Mm-hmm.
we're still to accomplish all those tasks. Similar to maintaining our operations, there's a tremendous amount of applications and registrations that are available to be done online. So it's interesting times. I am impressed with the creativity and ways that our staff have stepped up.
So are most of the city staff working from home then, or is it 50-50 or what would you say?
The office staff who are able to work remotely are working remotely.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few job functions that need to be done in person. We need to check the utility payments in the Dropbox. We need to pick up the mail at least every couple days. And so there's some pieces that need a physical presence.
What about the parks? Are the parks open? Or are they closed?
That probably changes by the minute.
Yeah.
The parks and trails are definitely open, and mentioned some of the work that the park staff is doing to make sure that they're safe and accessible. The governor's recommendations are, yes, you have to stay home, but feel free to enjoy the outdoors, safe social distance.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make our facilities are safe. So parks and open areas are open. We've canceled all city activities in the parks for the time being. We're trying to tie that to the governor's executive order, specifically the schools being closed until May 4th.
Mm-hmm.
That date may or may not change.
Have you guys had to furlough any employees or?
No, we've not.
Okay. So if somebody is watching this interview at home right now and they wanna help somehow, you hear that. Do you have any advice for people, or should they just kind of stay home and follow the rules, or what would be your advice if somebody wants to help out somehow?
You picked the obvious one. The way that everybody can help is to follow those CDC guides. Stay home, period, unless it's essential need. Maintain that social distancing. Make sure you wash your hands frequently.
Yep.
Cover your cough. So all those recommendations that we've been hearing for the last month, keep it up. Take it a little bit further with encouraging people to stay home. It really, whether it's in an immediate piece or in the bigger picture, that helps our first responders and our people that are having to be at work. It helps them if you're at home rather than adding to their workload or globally adding potentially to the spread of the pandemic and adding workload from that standpoint. So recently there was a community Facebook page set up Facebook group, Hastings MN COVID-19 Community Needs and Resources.
Yep.
I think that's been a real good outlet for uh, information from organizations like the United Way or Hastings Family Services about some of their needs.
Yep.
Giving business updates, particularly from our restaurants, about what days they're doing curbside or what days they
Yep.
might be closed. A lot of just residents reaching out to other residents about some of their needs, whether it's some cleaning supplies being available, or there seem to be several groups sewing surgical masks.
Yep.
But your question, how people could help, I'd certainly encourage them to look on that Facebook page and find that there's a number of options for them.
Mm-hmm. I guess one of the silver linings of this whole situation is seeing the community come together and look out for each other and look for ways that they can help and support each other. You know, whether it's making masks. I know my aunt with the schoolhouse, she's been a big part of that. And we're just seeing a lot of people use their talents and stepping up and uniting, which is kind of the silver lining of this whole negative situation.
You bet.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So those were all the more, shall we say, serious questions I had for you. I wanted to get to know you just a little bit before I let you go here. So for those people that don't know you personally, where were you at before you came here to Hastings to take on the city administrator role?
I came from Bath, Michigan, which is a suburb just outside East Lansing. So just trying to get it on the TV, middle of the Mid. Michigan always holds up their hand to show locations, but it was completely by chance, and I didn't notice it until I was here. But Lansing is the state capital of Michigan, as well as the home of Michigan State University, Big Ten. Prior to that, a few years back, I was in Evansville, Wisconsin, which is a suburb of Madison. Again, state capital and Big Ten University. And now we're just outside St. Paul and the U of M here. So somehow my last three positions have all been state capital and Big Ten University suburbs.
Sure. And what was the last position you had again?
I was in a similar role for Bath, Michigan. Township, a municipality, about 13,000 population, right outside East Lansing. So it had a strong, growing suburban aspect where it abutted Lansing, East Lansing, and then more in the northern end, and it tended to be more rural, like you'd expect from a township area.
So next question for you. What kind of hobbies, what do you enjoy doing in your free time, Dan?
Right now, I wish I had free time. I read a fair amount. I'm a decent cook. Callie will be 11 this July, and try to get out with her every weekend during the fall pheasant hunting.
Cool. Do you have a book that you recommend to us Hastings residents?
Can't catch me flat-footed there. The book that I was reading and set aside a couple weeks ago when this COVID got more busy is a history book called The British Are Coming. I think it's the first in a three-part trilogy about the American Revolution. But I thought I knew history as well as the Revolution pretty good. It's certainly well written, but it's also giving me a few insights or pieces that I either didn't know or just didn't remember.
Sure. I've been reading the Where's Waldo books.
I saw a social distancing version of one of those recently. It was like Waldo and three people in a field, and I'll forward that to you.
Oh, man. Do you have you said you like cooking. Is there a certain dish that you're known for, Dan?
I did enter the chili cook-off in Wisconsin a few times, and twice brought home hardware. Once, might have been a little bit of a backwards compliment, was for best mild, which I did not enter.
So when this whole pandemic is over, maybe you can invite me and a few friends over for some chili, huh?
Awesome. I don't know that that's quite the summer recipe, but absolutely.
Exactly. Okay. So seeing as the shelter in place is kind of going on right now, have you been binge watching anything? Do you have any favorite movies or TV shows?
I just started watching Homeland.
Oh, great show.
And 3 episodes into it, but enjoyed that. Somewhere my provider opened it up is free, so
Nice.
I'll probably wind up half a season into it, and then they'll say, well, now you have to pay for it if you want to keep watching.
Nice. You're in for a treat. I won't spoil anything, and we'll make sure Hastings
Okay.
viewers, if you watch this, no spoilers in the comments below, but it is a very good program.
Thank you.
What about a favorite travel location?
When I take vacation, it tends to be a full trip with the dog. So last year was tough since it was a new job and I couldn't really justify a vacation a month in. We took a weekend out to Huron, South Dakota area, previous into southwestern Nebraska a couple of years ago, 2 weeks out in Pierre, South Dakota, and that was enjoyable. But most of my travels tend to be for the dog and chances to get on some pheasants.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
I don't know that I have an answer for that one. I just certainly don't think in those lines.
Did I just stump the city administrator?
Easy to do. I probably want either a better memory, or if there was a way that I could access Google or something mentally to come up with an answer that I couldn't be stumped.
That's one of the most creative answers I've heard. That's good. That's good. Okay, last question for you. What is your favorite thing about Hastings, Minnesota?
It's tough to say just one. For the last few weeks, really have enjoyed taking Callie for walks along the river trail from the downtown over to the Locken Dam and back. And it's been a nice Hastings experience. Back in November, I was just amazed at the Gobblegate. A couple of the reasons that I was attracted to Hastings and wanting to move here were the investment in the historic architecture. It just really gives a sense of identity to the community and reminded me of my time in Evansville, Wisconsin. Also appreciate the arts community, whether it's a mural project or Hastings Prescott Area Arts Council or Art Space. Just really appreciate that there's an art presence in the community. And this is a special place for the people that are here. It's not just where they happen to live. It's a place that they're invested and want to give back. And I find that extremely wonderful and attractive about Hastings.
Excellent. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, Dan. So I just want to thank you again for meeting with me online, and we're both able to maybe kill a little bit of boredom as well from our homes as we're shut in and dealing with a unique situation. So anything else you want to add before I let you go?
No, I think we're good. I just want to encourage people to stay home if you can, and keep your social distancing, wash your hands.
All right. Well, there you have it, Hastings viewers. This is Dan Wietecha joining me today. He's our city administrator. So remember, no spoilers of the shows he's watching, and stay home, Hastings, wash your hands, and take care.